Maximising the Value of Your Business Part 2. Hello, my name is Richard Doyle from Pabasso. We are an invitation-only membership organisation that brings leaders of growing businesses together, enabling them to help each other's businesses develop, grow and ultimately increase shareholder value. As we covered last time, I was recently asked by a mergers and acquisitions professional if there was one piece of advice I would offer to a senior executive or business owner who is contemplating selling their business. But on reflection, I soon realised there was not one, but many pieces of advice I would offer. It can be a long journey, so I split it into two halves. In the first part of the journey, we talked about the decision to sell a business. In this one, we are covering the process once the decision has been made to sell. So let's start where we left off in part one. So firstly, I strongly advise you appoint a relevant professional to help you maximise the value and minimise the disruption to your business throughout this process. You will also need to appoint lawyers to help with the transaction. You should talk to a number of specialists and choose the one you feel best able to work with and who has demonstrated a good understanding of your business, your sector, current values, and who you feel you can work with. Between you, you will decide how best to proceed to maximise the value of your business. This normally involves collating a lot of information to populate a detailed information memorandum, which should in turn populate a mini IM or teaser document, both of which present your business in the best possible light. I advise you to be very patient. This whole process normally takes several months from appointing a professional advisor to completing a transaction. Just a point of clarification, when I talk about prospective buyers, please take that to include investors, as the process of seeking investment, which is in effect partially selling your business, should be very similar to that of selling your business outright. This teaser or mini IM is used to establish levels of interest among prospective purchasers. It's typically anonymous, so as not to let the market know that your business is for sale. By the market, I mean you don't want your suppliers, your customers, your competitors, or your staff to know that you are in a process. Between you, you will normally establish a list of prospective buyers or investors with your advisor and send them a copy of the teaser. You will be expected to provide input to this list, so I advise you to start thinking about that as soon as possible. After all, you are the experts in your space. Who do you think would get value from buying your business? Who do you know who is acquisitive in your space? Start to think about this early, and you will then help your advisors populate that list. If you already have a preferred buyer, then the process will be slightly different, but your professional advisors will still work with you to maximise the value of the transaction. So, the teaser has been circulated, and you wait with bated breath to see who is seriously interested in buying your business. Hopefully, you will have at least 3 prospective buyers who will wish to find out more, and you will allow them to sign an NDA, and they will be sent a full IM seeking indicative offers, etc. So NDA is non-disclosure agreement. I advise you to make sure your non-disclosure agreement includes a non-solicitation clause, and this is to discourage potential purchasers from poaching your key staff if they are unsuccessful. It does happen, and it is often overlooked. Some months after starting the process, you will hope to get at least one offer you are happy with and on terms which you are happy with. This should include the agreed price, timescales, and any other information that's relevant to the deal. You will probably give them a short exclusivity period, which is giving them time to complete the legal, commercial, financial, and in some cases personal due diligence. Your lawyers will work closely with you and your advisors and the preferred buyer's lawyers to agree the heads of terms with the prospective purchaser. I advise you to pay real attention to the heads, as this forms the basis of any transaction. I also advise you to keep any other potential buyers sweet. throughout this exclusivity process without giving anything away or breaching the heads of terms, because you may wish to go back to them if the transaction with the preferred buyer doesn't complete. I advise you to only include members of your team on a need-to-know basis about the process, and to prepare a smokescreen for your staff. Do this before the DD starts, as you don't want to unsettle your team if the transaction does not complete, or indeed until you are ready to make any announcements. Use anything that justifies having outsiders coming into the business and collecting lots of information, because that's what happens during DD. In the past, I've used the excuse of considering a flotation, seeking an investment, looking at acquisitions, anything that doesn't unsettle your team. I strongly advise that you don't assume that the deal will get done. Even having signed heads, never take it for granted that the deal will complete. A lot can happen between agreeing a deal and completing a deal. The due diligence process will probably be quite intensive. Your professional advisors will help you through the process, but expect your prospective buyer to overturn every stone and dig deep into your operation. After all, they need to make sure what they think they are buying is what is on offer. I strongly advise that you set yourself a minimum price that you are happy with parameters you are happy with, and be prepared to walk away from the deal unless you get that. Values rarely rise in DD, so be prepared for a reduced offer post-DD. At some stage in the due diligence process, you will be working with the lawyers to agree a sale and purchase agreement, or SPA, and this is an extensive document which is the full details of the transaction and once again requires your full attention. I strongly advise that you do not lose focus on your business. Throughout this process, it's vital but not easy to remain focused on growing and maintaining your business, because if your business falters during the sale process, this will give the prospective purchasers a credible reason to reduce their offer. I also advise that you try and keep the buyer at a professional distance throughout the process. Don't get wedded to the buyer before you get to the altar. All being well, the deal will conclude and you will reap the rewards for all your hard work and breathe a huge sigh of relief. Remember, this is only my view. Imagine if you were in a Pabasso peer advisory board with up to 12 experienced CEOs who could add to the debate on this subject or any other subject that might be bugging you. That's the value of being in a peer advisory board. If you would like any more information, simply get in touch via the website at pabasso.com. Thanks.